10,000 Tears podcast, home of crying Vikings fans this week after a tough loss to the New Orleans Saints. On the bright side, Michael did win the predictions. He did have the closest score. He was off by one touchdown for the Saints, I believe.
Yep.
Michael,
and 2 points from the Vikings.
Congratulations, Michael.
Thank you. It's an honor.
Does anyone have anything they want to say about the poor performance by that Vikings defense?
I was, it's Christmas, trying to keep the spirits up, but Vikings really made that tough, giving up the most points allowed since 1963, I believe it was. The defense, that was probably one of the worst defensive performances I've ever seen in the NFL in a long time. It looked like they wanted Kamara to break the record or something. I don't know what they were doing. Zimmer straight up said it's the worst defense he's ever had. Probably wasn't a very fun locker room, but yeah, it was brutal. I mean, offensively, we scored 33 points. I get that some of it was garbage time, but it wasn't too terrible offensively.
How do you guys feel about Mike Zimmer coming after the defense like that? Normally he's not a very vocal guy to the media, and he just straight up said, this is the worst defense I've ever had in my life.
Yeah, that was surprising because he's definitely, like you said, usually a pretty quiet guy when it comes to that and usually takes ownership. But this time it definitely seemed like he threw the entire blame on the players, which to a certain degree I'd understand as majority of them are rookies. And actually I pulled up a stat. So this season, no Hunter, no Barr, no Pierce, no Hughes. Kendrick's out for 5 weeks. We've had the horrific offensive guards. I guess that doesn't tie in with the defense, but and then all rookie cornerbacks. So it's just one of those things where it's just brutal to watch, and it is what it is, and you just got to press on for next season because Kirk Cousins did show up this season. I feel like so I think we do have a lot to look forward to as long as he keeps on the upward trend.
Does Unique Ngakoue still lead the Vikings in sacks with 5? Still?
I believe.
I think someone's tied him now. Maybe.
Someone check that stat real quick.
I don't believe that's correct. But
he was leading 2 weeks ago, and someone had like 3.5. So I think
Mike Zimmer, beginning of the season, there's no excuse. There's no excuse. What he said is actually correct, but what he said before the season was even more asinine than what he just said now. Asinine. He said he's never had a bad defense. Remember that in the beginning of the season? He's never had a bad defense when asked about the youth on the team.
He did say that.
Now he's pulling a 180. He's saying this is the worst defense I've ever had. You are a defensive guru head coach, allegedly. And you knew what was going to happen at the beginning of the season. You had a bunch of young guys in secondary. You're going to get toasted at the beginning of the year. They're not going to be acclimated right away in the NFL. Eventually they did. And then your leader on defense, Eric Kendricks, goes down a couple weeks ago, and you were exposed. Your whole defense was built around 2 players pretty much. And it was Harrison Smith, who right now looks like he's maybe taking a couple steps back, and Eric Kendricks. And this team right now, it scares me because, I think it's the passing of the generation. You're going to be losing Harrison Smith here probably next year when his contract expires. I don't see him, I see like he's just so frustrated in the field. This is the end of the era for this team we know and love. It's the same back in 2009 when, we lost Jared Allen and that crew from that, divisional run. This is the end of an era, and we have to face it. And I don't think Mike Zimmer is the future. No GM in the history of the NFL has had a coach or had 3 NFL head coaches under him. So Spielin's gone too.
Mitch, I'm going to actually completely disagree with you here. First of all, Harrison Smith is Zimmer's favorite person on the earth. I think they have sleepovers. I think he's been kind of taking a step back lately because he's gotten all those crazy calls on him, and I think he's just scared now.
Can't hit anybody. They throw a flag. If they hit someone.
Exactly. But I think he's going to get – I mean, he's going to be expensive. I think we're going to try to make it happen. Thielen's never going to leave Minnesota. He's like the deepest rooted guy in Minnesota on our whole team. So that's just what I have to say.
Thielen
What
and
happens,
Harrison
what
Smith will
happens to
never
Harrison
leave.
Smith when Zimmer gets shown the door next year?
Harrison Smith stays.
He's
He's
not
a
going to
great
go
safety
anywhere.
still.
He's the cornerstone of that
Why,
defense.
I'm the hot take guy. I'm going to say hot take. Harrison
If
Smith
you get rid of Harrison Smith, you're admitted to a rebuild.
Are they not?
This
They're
year's-
doing everything in their power
They made their
to
bet.
avoid
They
a full
put their
rebuild.
money on Kirk Cousins, and it hasn't worked out.
I think this
It's
year's
not
a
Kirk
rebuild,
Cousins'
though.
fault.
Really?
Next year
Cousins
is
has
not
been
the
playing
rebuild.
great.
Kirk's fault.
He takes up 17% of the cap.
So
When you pay a quarterback not on his rookie deal, your team look at the past, like I think it's like, what was it, 6 or 7 past Super Bowl champions have been on their rookie deal. The quarterbacks.
oh, would you rather we had kept Teddy Bridgewater or Case
No,
Keenum?
he's not the guy. We had to start there. It almost starts with Teddy losing his leg.
Yeah, and
We
then
had
the
to
Sam
keep paying
Bradford
quarterbacks
trade.
that amount of money.
Here's the thing. I could say that, like, this year, I mean, I'd categorize it as rebuilding. I mean, our defense is so young. That's kind of rebuilding. Next year,
It's more
though,
of a
like,
reloading.
I get what you're saying, but, like, next year is not going to be rebuilding. We're going to have one more experience on our young guys. We're not getting rid of really any of our big offensive guys. It's not a rebuild.
No, the Vikings would never
Happens
admit to a
offseason.
rebuild.
What's that, Mitch?
We'll see what happens in the offseason.
We'll see.
Zimmer will stay. Spielman will stay. They got extensions. Ziggy Wilf isn't gonna be like, oh, I'm just gonna pay you guys and get the fuck out of here. You know, he's gonna keep them for at least one more year. Even though, if we did get rid of Zimmer, I'd be okay with it as long as we got that. I always forget his name. The guy in Kansas City.
The offensive coordinator?
Yeah, I always forget his name.
Eric Bieniemy, yep.
Yep.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I'm not
If we
saying
get rid of
that
Zimmer, we go offensive-minded head coach.
for sure.
And we get rid of Kubiak. We'd have to. But
Yeah.
anyways, so if you guys had to pick one player, since we're so tight in cap space, I do have a question.
We'll
Pick one
Check
player
out.
to
Wait,
get rid of.
Isaac.
go ahead and check out Money Moves, soon to be uploaded on YouTube within the next couple days.
Check it. Click on the account below, and you can find it there.
For people watching on YouTube and not on Spotify.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't clarify that.
YouTube exclusive.
It is a YouTube exclusive.
along
Along
with
with the other
Wonton
podcast,
Wednesdays.
Wonton Wednesdays, which doesn't come out on Wednesdays. It's just ironic.
There was a snowstorm on Wednesday. There was a lot going on.
I think we should keep
It
up.
came out a day late.
More fun if we call it Wonton Wednesdays and release summertime random.
Wonton Wednesdays, and it'll come out. You'll just have to guess what day it comes out.
It'll come out eventually. Anyways. So, gosh,
All right, I'm back for the second time.
Devin.
And Devin has
some
returned.
technical difficulties. Devin, what's your take? You haven't heard anything, have you?
No, I have heard chops and pieces through the unstable connection through my laptop, but on my phone, I'm just fine. Yeah, so basically talking about Coach Zimmer and the coaching staff as a whole. I mean, and Justin saying talks of the rebuild. I mean, I would say we're under a rebuild phase on the defensive side of the ball, most certainly, especially bringing in as many rookies as we have. I mean, I think at one point we had 8 rookies starting in one game at a single time. Correct me if I'm wrong. I know for sure 7, but I think there was at one point 8.
I'm sure during the Saints game there was probably 8.
Yeah. But
Looking at the score.
yeah, I mean, it's just frustrating having watched so many great years of like Minnesota defense, and then coming into this season with high expectations to be pressing the envelope after last season. Yeah, it's just frustrating. But I don't see any big changes as far as coaching staff goes. I think it's understood across the organization that this was a young defense that's growing painfully, and that can't necessarily be all put onto Zimmer's shoulders. As much of a defensive coach as he does claim to be, and I give him credit for what he has done. Because, I mean, by and large, for the most part, we've been in every single game. It wasn't really until this Saints game where it was just completely blown out of proportion. Otherwise, for the majority of the season, we've been at least tight for most of the games. And I think, once we get back a healthy Kendricks, Barr, Hunter, Pierce, I think we'll be in much better hands. I'm just looking forward to next season. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we can come up with something in the offseason to generate a higher draft pick and, maybe go for some big guns to look under Kirk Cousins. Something like Justin Fields or something would just be crazy. Or Mitch's favorite guy out of BYU.
He won't be
I don't
there.
think we have a top 5 draft pick.
Wait, what if we would have kept losing and then instead we started winning games? For no reason.
But going back to the injuries on defense, I really do think going into the season, especially when we traded for Unique Ngakoue, I think they thought they were going to have, Unique, Daniil together. Then you have Anthony Barr and Eric Kendricks back there, linebacker. They once Michael Pierce opted out, they knew they were going to be thin at defensive tackle. I don't think they really planned on having to play all these no-name guys at linebacker on the defensive line. And you look at our secondary, we knew that, they're pretty much all rookies or second-year guys. And, they're holding their own for the most part. They have their ups and downs. When you look at our defense, our main problem is that defensive line. Teams are just running all over us. I mean, you see Alvin Kamara. They just couldn't stop them. And then you can't really blame Mike Zimmer for all of these guys being injured. But, I mean, it's also, it's a lot. What are you going to do? They look helpless out there. We do have that one bright spot in DJ Wonnum, though.
For sure. I guess I don't know if you guys want to start looking at what the Vikings might do next week. I mean, we've been eliminated from the playoffs. Do you think Cook? Do you think they're going to rest anyone? What do you think they're going to do?
If they were smart, they would bench anybody of importance. I mean, Cook, Kirk, Thielen,
Jefferson.
Yeah, getting a little.
in my eyes. I mean, I would let JJ just I would get the
You're
stat
having some
pad
problems, Devin.
I'm having connection issues.
Your network bandwidth is low. That's what it's saying right now. But
Fantastic.
Well, let's put a,
sound like a
break
robot.
on that. Take real quick, Devin, and then
figure it out.
Someone else's opinion. Michael.
Oh, on what we should do next week. I agree with Devin. Just bench everyone. That game does not matter. There's no reason to have anyone get hurt. Possibly tear an ACL. That ruins their next season. Reason for that. And I mean, I guess if Cook wants to
I'm gonna tell you right
go
now,
out there
they're
and
not
get
gonna
more
bench
yards.
everyone.
I know
But,
we won't.
They're all
Because
competitors. They're not gonna say,
Cook-
"Okay, I'll sit out the last game." They don't give a shit. They're
Exactly.
like, "Oh yeah,
I mean, at
we want to go
least
prove
for
that
half
we're
the game,
better than
don't
what we
have them
think."
in.
No, they
Yeah.
are. The only person I can see them resting is Dalvin Cook, but not completely benching him, just lowering it. He's not gonna get 30 carries next week. If Madison
with
isn't
that.
back, they'll probably throw Amir Abdullah and Mike Boone in there for some screens and.
I agree with that.
For drives.
I don't think they'll completely bench Cook because I don't think Cook will let. I think Cook will beg to play.
He would never. He'd be so mad.
But I mean, he only
wants
had
to prove that he earned that extension too.
Yeah, and he only had 15 carries last game. Once we went down big, and I think he's probably not going to get much more than that in the next game, even if we are winning and we're trying to run out the clock. But yeah,
No, he'll lean on. we have a lot of running backs,
Yeah, we do.
It's
especially
true.
if Madison comes back. So they'll lean on those guys and let Cook have an easier day, but he's not going to sit. Kirk Cousins isn't going to sit. Adam Thielen, Justin Jefferson aren't going to sit.
Will we
They should
see
probably
Sean
just sit him on the
Mannion?
defense. We'll see Sean Mannion if the Vikings are up big.
What
Or
about
down.
If we're
Nate
winning
Stanley
by
out of
30,
Iowa?
Nate Stanley he's not even on the active roster, is he?
Oh, is he not? Do we not have a
Had
third
him on-
quarterback?
We only run with two.
Oh,
We only
Dang.
ever run with two, yeah. I could not, unless they want to activate him to the active roster, but
Devin.
Hey, am I coming through all right now?
Mm-hmm.
that's
Mhm.
better.
I'm good.
Okay.
Any additional comments on next game against?
Yeah, if I was the GM and the coach, I mean, I'm benching all the big name players. I just there's absolutely zero reason for them to risk an injury whatsoever, regardless of the players' feelings and emotions, whether they're just trying to prove, contract extensions, whatever you name it. It's pointless. It's just absolutely pointless. We're out of the playoffs. There's a 0% chance that we make it. So just save your skin and let some of your newer players show what they got, and then move on from there.
Be the
Right.
smart way to go, at least.
I'm gonna say most everyone's gonna play, and I'm gonna say this: if we get blown up by the Lions, we might see
You won't.
I
You
feel a
might
hot
see
take coming.
some real hot takes on Twitter right now. I mean, it's I don't like Zimmer. I mean, he's a good guy. I think he's a great defensive coordinator. I don't think he's a good head coach. He hasn't learned how to control a play clock or a game clock at all. So yeah. So that's all I'm gonna say. I think most people are gonna play. Will it be pretty? I don't think so.
I don't see us losing to the Lions as long as everyone plays, but especially we will not get blown out. Matthew Stafford didn't even really play this last game. He's injured, so I could see them just actually possibly benching Matthew Stafford since he's not fully healthy, which is what you should do.
I mean, Lions
they'll
aren't smart enough
probably
to do that.
the Lions. Oh, the Lions are the Lions. Unless they really do plan on drafting a quarterback in the first round, I don't see them playing Matthew Stafford if he's not fully 100%. But
I agree with that.
we know the Vikings' track record against backup quarterbacks, so
You are
there is
Matt
that.
Prater, the Vikings kryptonite. Matt Prater.
It's in.
Vikings have a lot of different variations of kryptonite.
Yeah. Chase Daniel. That was a big one when he was on the Bears.
Trubisky apparently.
Yeah, apparently Trubisky, who I believe will get re-signed by the Bears.
What if that was the whole point? We tried to make Trubisky look good to get him extended so that we only have to deal with him for the next few years.
Well, then a bunch of other teams are in on it because he's been looking pretty good. They put I know it's the Jaguars, but they beat the Jaguars 42-7 today. The team that we went to overtime with.
41-17.
Okay, I saw.
Congrats Jaguars and Trevor Lawrence, by the way.
Yeah, good
Yeah.
job the New York Jets for
For
blowing that.
ruining everything.
No,
Can't even pull off a proper tank.
yeah,
There's
they were getting
absolutely
pretty
nothing the
obvious
Jets
with
can
it,
do,
too.
right?
Problem is,
And-
they fired the one guy that was on board with it.
Yeah.
And spends 8 guys with 4 seconds left to lose a game.
Being a
Also,
Vikings
the
fan
same-
hurts right now, but being a Jets fan is definitely worse.
And damn it, my team won.
Why
I feel
damn
like
it?
I would want to be on a really shitty team at one point. Every year it's blue balls from the Vikings.
Yep.
It's true.
Yeah.
Jerk you off 80% of the way, and then they let you down that last 20.
You're not wrong.
At least Joe Nathan called a shot and won a Super Bowl with him. So. Or Joe Namath. Sorry.
Yeah, Joe Nathan is a
Twins
completely
pitcher.
different man.
Hey, I
Great closer.
like Joe Nathan. Joe Nathan was sweet.
He was a great closer for the Twins.
Yeah.
Well, how do we think the Twins are going to do this year? Let's just throw that out there. This is a Minnesota podcast.
Are we gonna do predictions and stuff?
We'll do a separate show just all Twin stuff. But I just want to get a general feel. What are we thinking of the Twins this year? Depending on if they re-sign Nelson Cruz or not.
We're gonna just barely. I think we're gonna barely make the playoffs. Lose round 1.
Yankees.
Get
For the
swept.
Yankees.
Get swept by the Yankees. That is probably the
Doesn't
safest
matter.
prediction you can make about the Twins. Is we will get swept by the Yankees in round 1.
Saying they're winning the World Series.
All right. Well, Michael.
Twins are pulling the Tampa Bay Rays. Sure. World Series.
No shot.
They're not making the World Series.
They're
No
winning
shot.
it.
How about we talk about the most successful Minnesota sports team right now, the 2-0 Minnesota Timberwolves? How about that right there? At least they can make us proud.
Too early to tell.
For now.
They pulled it
2-0.
off. They have young talent. They tanked for a season and they got the first overall pick. They did it right. They're not
They know what they're doing.
half of the year. and
Anthony
losing.
Edwards is sweet. I watched his highlights just from last night.
Yeah, he's
We
been.
could be a 7 or 8 seed. I can see it.
There's only been 2 games so far, and Anthony Edwards is already putting together a highlight reel.
Dude, he makes some sweet passes. The kid can ball.
For sure.
Wow, that makes me feel fucking old. The kid can ball.
He's younger than you.
We got a 20-year-old out there making millions of dollars playing basketball, and here we are sitting in our bedrooms doing a podcast for 100 people. I don't know.
And we love all 100 of you.
Actually, I
Appreciate
think
you
we've
all.
only hit 95 views on our first video, but yeah, so
10 of those
Yeah.
are me.
Gotta crawl before you can walk.
used all 50 of my burner
Draft
accounts
season's
on my
looking
YouTube.
up.
So
Off season.
yeah, so looking forward, we've been talking about the Vikings Lions this upcoming week. Mitch already said that there's a chance we get blown out by the Lions, so there's that.
You want me to just do my prediction right now?
And let's get Mitch's actual prediction right now. If it is different, which I might lose respect for him if it's not. But Mitch, what's your prediction for the Vikings Lions game?
27-17 Lions.
Lions. Okay, sounds good.
And
Is
that is
that
a blowout. And then
with-
you look like, oh, it's a 10-point game. That's a blowout.
With or without Stafford? Is Stafford going to play? Is there a
Doesn't
prediction
matter.
with
Doesn't matter.
Stafford?
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Listen, I know people are going to be like, oh, this guy's such a Debbie Downer. I am tired of the mediocre seasons. I want us to win a Super Bowl. That's my whole goal. I want us to win a fucking Super Bowl.
Mitch, I will say you are
Not
a
going to win Super Bowls
stereotypical
for Kirk Cousins.
Minnesota Vikings fan. Michael, what's your prediction?
Oh,
125-3 in Lions. That's what I'm thinking you're
yeah,
going to say. Here.
definitely. 24-20 Vikings.
All right. Close game right there. Devin, can you hear us?
Yeah, I got you guys. Okay, so this is all dependent on if the Vikings play all of our starters. If we got everybody full force out there, Detroit doesn't matter with Stafford or without. I think Vikings pull a strong W out at 30-17.
30-17. Solid prediction. Justin, what do you got?
Yep, I'm going to kind of go the same route as Devin. I mean, if we bench our big starters, which, like I said earlier, I don't think is going to happen to a full extent. So I think that most of them will play, and I think we'll go 28-17 Vikings.
All right. I mean, I completely agree. I think Zimmer's pissed off. Spielman's pissed off. they're gonna drive everyone to the ground. No one's sitting except for they will baby Dalvin Cook and limit him to 15 to 20 carries, which is still more than I think.
Respectable.
That's more than I think he should be doing this last week in a 6-9 season we have right now. But
Nice.
nice, man. They should just
Yeah,
not play the
6-9.
game, end it at 6-9.
Just gotta get a tie.
But I do think the Vikings will win. Their offense has been clicking. The Lions just suck. I think the Vikings will put up a solid 28 points. But DeAndre Swift and AP are gonna have their way with their defensive line, and they'll put up 20 points. That's my prediction. Did I say what, 28-20? Yeah, 28-20
Yep.
Vikings.
Viewers, if you watch this before the next game, leave your predictions below. We'll see if any of you get closer to us. Shout out to Johnny Mills for the hot takes on last.
Johnny Mills and Johnny Mills' burner account arguing with each other. Probably make sure your face isn't in both pictures. It's a little more obvious that way. But all right. Well, we got our predictions in. Hopefully, everyone but Mitch is right.
If I'm right, you guys might get a cigar podcast next time.
Keep an eye out for that. Mitch sitting in his garage smoking a cigar with a glass of whiskey, just like his
Cheering to a nice 6-10 season
and a 14th overall draft pick.
Yep.
All
Better than
right.
17th or 16th if we win. So
We'll see who falls. Probably no one that'll be good for us. All right. Well, check out our other podcasts. We'll be dropping more this week. Money Moves and Wants on Wednesdays. Thanks for being with us today on this wonderful football Sunday, 2 days after a heartbreaking loss in New Orleans. So this has been the Land of 10,000 Tears podcast.